Between gold and Bitcoin, which should you buy? Someone asked me this question earlier, so I want to dissect and make this very clear on the best you can buy. At least what I think, what I'll do if I were in your situation. So let's start with gold. Gold is basically a tangible physical store of value, right? This has been used by our forefathers and people that were here before us to store value, to store real money. And it's been there for a very long time. Because it's very tangible, you can actually move it around. It's kind of more easier knowing that you have your cash or your value in a physical form. Another good thing about gold is that it's actually less volatile than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is much more volatile, but gold tends to maintain a very relative, less volatile fluctuation when it comes to the market. Then another thing you also consider when it comes to gold is that it always appreciates when we have inflation. When there's this huge inflation with fiat currencies, shooting in different directions, people tend to go to gold as a safe haven, put their money in there knowing that no matter how the inflation, rumbles and everything goes on at the end of the day, they know that their money is actually safe in gold. Another thing you also consider when you want to compare gold and Bitcoin is that gold can be applied in different industries. Like we use it for jewelries and for different ornaments people wear, and it also gives you that value, unlike Bitcoin. But when it comes to Bitcoin, of course, I would always choose Bitcoin. This is the reason. Bitcoin is more like a digital asset. Like it's a decentralized asset where no one has control over it, right? And Bitcoin is also one thing that I know is very portable, unlike gold. For gold, you have to think of the security, where you're going to keep this thing and make sure it's secured. One of the major reasons I personally would go for Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is a more portable asset. Like I can easily move it around. I can easily sell it up. It's more liquid in the sense that someone is in the other end and ready to buy my Bitcoin right now. Right? If I have one Bitcoin, I want to sell it right now. Somebody is ready to give me cash and I'm done. But when it comes to when you have a bar of gold, before you sell this thing, it takes you probably more than 48 hours. You have to find the right market, the right person, and probably need a license and other documentation to show that you own this particular bar of gold before you can sell. Another reason I'll be buying Bitcoin instead of gold is that it's a decentralized asset, that it's not controlled by anybody, right? Nobody has a full control over this particular asset and telling me that this is what I should do with this or this is what I should do with that. But when it comes to gold, I believe there's a quantity you have. For instance, you can't just travel with a very huge quantity of gold through the airports. They have to check your bags and make sure you have, I think there's an amount of quantity of gold you can carry through the airports. So these are things that I think are limitations of actually buying gold instead of Bitcoin. Then another reason I would rather buy Bitcoin than gold is because of the high return. Alright, Bitcoin is more likely to give you higher return than gold. With Bitcoin, just less than a month or less than 2 months ago, Bitcoin was around $60,000, and now it has appreciated to almost $100,000. We are looking at 40% increase in less than 2 months. Gold can't give you that. You can't make such kind of profits in gold, 40% in 2 months. That's very far-fetched from gold. Of course, looking at this, Bitcoin is actually more volatile than gold. So if you're not the kind of person that can actually stand that volatility and seeing that fluctuation, of course, gold is really better for you. But high risk takers like me that are ready to make more returns and don't really care about the volatility of, Bitcoin, of course, it's actually something that I rather do because I'll be able to understand the volatility and see the extent it can go in a certain period of time. And it's something that I'll be able to tolerate and put my money into. But for people that are very conservative, that doesn't want to go for assets that fluctuate so much, then of course gold is better for you in the sense that you can have your gold and it doesn't fluctuate so much, and you can expect to have little return, unlike you have with Bitcoin. The final reason I'll go for Bitcoin than gold is that the limited supply. Currently, Bitcoin is pegged at 21 million that's going to be in circulation and nothing more. And we've mined 19 million already, remaining just 2 million, which is about 96% of Bitcoin is gone. But when it comes to gold, gold is like under the ground. You know, people keep on mining gold and we don't really have an exact amount that will be mined. So there's no exact amount of gold we know that is in supply. People will keep on going to the earth and keep on mining more gold as time goes on. So nobody will say that there's this number of gold that is here and as soon as it is done, we can't find them anywhere else. So for me, I'd rather work with an exact number, knowing that Bitcoin is at 21 million. As soon as that is done, you can't find any other Bitcoin anywhere except the one you can find in people's hands like you and me. So the limited supply of Bitcoin makes it more attractive asset for me than gold that we don't know the number of supply. Like, you can keep on mining gold for the rest of eternity. Nobody knows the exact number of gold we have left under the ground. All right. So I'd rather work with an exact number, knowing where my money is going into, than working with something I don't really know how long it's going to take, how much is left under the ground. And, you know, in as much as it's less volatile, I'd rather go for Bitcoin that is more volatile, brings me more return, and it's a digital asset I can carry anywhere, I can sell easily, unlike gold. But don't get me wrong, gold is still good. If you're a conservative investor, you don't like volatility, you don't like all the craziness that comes with Bitcoin, go for gold. But for risk takers like me, I'd rather go for Bitcoin that I understand what's going on in there and it has limited supply, and I know this thing as is solving a real problem and is actually here to stay. I believe with all this said, you'll be able to decide which is actually best for you and, you know, your risk tolerance in terms of trading and financial markets. But all the same, make your decision wisely, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.